Like for example, this Ask Dr. Malik channel has over 12 million views, and you can see how catchy my thumbnails are, and these are very important. For example, you see this video has 2 million views, this one has 1.8 million views, this has 1.5 million views, 800,000 views. I'll be teaching you everything so you'll be able to design catchy, attractive and magnetic thumbnails and achieve the same results or even more. Hello, today we will be looking at how to design simple but eye-catching thumbnails that get clicks like crazy. Now this is important because thumbnails determines your views to a large extent, and this is because there is a term called click-through rate. It simply means the number of people who click on seeing your videos. To a large extent, people click based on how catchy and how interesting your thumbnails are. If you want more views and more subscribers on your channel, you need to give your attention to how you design your thumbnails. The principles I will share with you today are the same principles I use for my channels. So the first thing here is you have to design a brand sample. You need a sample of thumbnail that you can always come back to, so that when you publish a video, you simply come to that sample and change the image and change the text, so that all of your thumbnails will have some kind of consistency, some kind of brand consistency. It is important because of the way it makes people feel when they land on your channel and see that you are sort of an organized person, and apart from that, it makes your thumbnails easily recognizable when people see them, and so it will improve your clicks. And so the first thing is you have to create a brand sample, and there are several ways you can design your thumbnails, but usually, as you know, on this channel we like to make things very simple for you. I would advise you go with canva.com, especially if you're not a design person. However, there are other options. You could use Photoshop, you could go to snapper.com. It's similar to canva.com, and then you can also outsource it. So for example, if you go to fiverr.com, you should be able to get someone to design a thumbnail for you for cheap, right? But how often will you keep doing that? Because you have to be posting videos regularly, except if you ask the person to give you an editable thumbnail where you have your brand colors and your brand font type and samples, right? Create so that the person can create a sample for you so you can edit afterwards, right? So you could go there and get for $10, $5, $15 and get thumbnails designed. But today we will be looking at how to use Canva, because that's what I use. So usually what I do is, since I already have templates here, samples here, I just simply come here and make a copy, and then I open the copy. So since I already have samples, I just duplicate the sample, edit it and rename it, and then I just download. So it simply means I'll just come here and change the text based on the new video, change the image based on the new video, and I'll simply download. And so it makes it fast. So the first thing, as I earlier said, is come to Canva and design one sample that reflects your brand, so that the next and subsequent videos you make, you simply come in there, change the text and change the image and simply download. So that way you will be fast. That's number one. Number two, there will be brand consistency. When it comes to getting your brand colors, you can use Canva color wheel. So if you type canva.com color wheel, you can just come here and you'll be able to, Canva will be able to help you choose 2 or 3 colors, right? And so that's like the next point. Don't use more than 3 colors. Just stick to 3 colors, so that there will be the colors will not riot, right? And as much as possible, if you can use non-YouTube colors, the YouTube colors are red, white and black. So as much as possible, try to avoid YouTube colors. And that is why on my thumbnails I had to introduce this bright yellow here, so that my thumbnails can stand up. Because if I stick with just my brand colors, which is just red, black and white, they are YouTube colors, and so my thumbnails can get lost on the YouTube platform. And so that's why I introduced this bright yellow, so that my thumbnails can stand out. And then I use at least 3 colors. So basically this the black here, the white, and then the yellow. and the yellow. And so just stick to 3 colors, right? Don't use more than 3 colors, and then try as much as possible to introduce 1 or 2 non-YouTube colors. And the YouTube colors are red, black, and white. So try and introduce a color, a major color that is non-YouTube. And also, it's also very important that when you are designing, make sure that your thumbnail is bright. It pops out, right? You can see this is bright and it pops out. So we'll be looking at the details later on. As we earlier said, if you need color to choose your brand colors, you can come to canva.com. You can pick one major color and Canva will give you complementary colors or different kind of styles of colors, so that you can simply copy these codes, and keep somewhere, so that anytime you're designing, you can simply input the codes. You can simply come here and input the code here, so that all the shade of yellow you are using or the shade of the color you are using is consistent across all of your thumbnails. So use Canva color wheel to get your color codes and save somewhere, so that you will be clear. When it comes to the designs, you can choose to use any of those pre-designed Canva templates, and it's simple as just clicking and editing the colors, because these templates are professionally designed, right? So you can simply click and edit, especially if you are not a design person. Cool, let's pick this. So another very important principle when you're designing is make your text very bold, big, bold text, and with high contrast. We'll talk about these other features here, but big, bold text with high contrast. So if we come here, we see that these texts are small, right? So we could simply delete. So you can simply edit this one and make it like a sample for you based on your colors. So you can decide to say that, okay, for my channel, I will put an image here and I'll put text here, and that will be the sample for my YouTube thumbnails. So you can simply come in here. You can decide based on your channel. You could decide to leave all of these little buttons around to make it more, even more beautiful. So we could reduce this so that it gives more space for the image, and we can simply increase this to the maximum size possible. We can also drag this edge here to make it large. So I can see that these colors now are interfering, so I can simply click this and delete. I can click this and delete. All right, so our thumbnail is coming out. So if we want to change this, we can simply go and download a relevant image. So assuming we are doing something on kids, right, one of the best places to go to is pexels.com, pexels.com. So you could just come here and get free amazing images, relevant images. So I could just say baby, right, and this comes up. So I could simply choose a relevant image and download, and choose a relevant image and download, and then simply come to free download. So while that is working, you also notice that we say here that if you use close-up faces, it's better. So the closer the face is, the larger the face is, the better, right? Instead of a face that is right deep inside the image, if you can bring the face of the person, even if it means cropping it out so that it pops out. This is important because thumbnails are usually watched as seen on mobile phones, and they could become very small. So if your texts are small and the faces are small, it will not be legible, right? It will not be legible, and then it will not be conspicuous. So it is better you have large text and bold faces, right? If we already know our brand colors, we can simply come in here, click it here and change it. So assuming this is our brand color, and then you can adjust the darkness of the brand color here so that it pops, because it's nice if the background is dark and the text is light, or the background is light and the text is dark. So you see here, if we put a dark background and the text is light, it pops. As you can see here, we say there should be good high contrast. There should be high contrast, and the image you are using should be visually compelling. So now I'm using a baby here because babies are usually visually compelling. People love babies, love pets. Funny images, shocking images, anything that catches attention or is compelling is what you use. So we could simply drag this to Canva here, and it will appear here. If this is distracting, we can remove it. If it's not, we can leave it. Okay, and it has downloaded. So we could simply click this and press delete on a laptop, or simply click delete here and it's off. And we can simply click this and drag it to where we want. We can just keep it here and drag this base, you see. So the face is up here. So if you want those little designs here to show, we can simply click this again and go to position and say to the back. So you see it pops. So if you want these things here, you could leave them here. This alone fulfills all of the criteria that we mentioned that a good thumbnail, a great thumbnail should have. First, we're saying that it should have bright, it should be bright, and it should pop, right? So you can see that this is bright and it will definitely pop. If, for example, we come in here and we make it maximum size, you see it pops. If we come in here and adjust the percentage, let's say 10%, you see, you can still see the image, you can still see the text. That's how it should be. So fit, right? So that's the first thing. Apart from that, we can touch the image a little. We can click this, come to adjust, and increase the saturation so that it pops even more. There are many things you can do. You can just click and go through all of these different effects, different things you can do. Another thing that works is arrows. So usually if you can put an arrow, especially if it's relevant, it seems to work. Arrows, circles, red circles. So you could go to, you could say arrow, so it makes people to click. So you can pick any of these arrows, the free ones if you're on free plan, and simply make it red, make it bright red. You can adjust the point, how it points, and you can go to the top, move it to the extreme here, move it to the extreme here, so we have a bright red. So it makes it even more compelling. If arrows work, also circles work. Circles, right? Just circle out a thing and make it bright red, so it also works. So this is the first thing. Then there are other situations where you might want to remove the background of your image, and what we use is remove.bg. Remove.bg is a free software you can use to remove the background. One thing you can do is you can decide to save this, right, or just leave it as it is and name it properly, sample, right, so that the next time you come, you simply go to home. So when you come back to home, you see the sample here. So instead of recreating this from scratch in your next video, you simply click this and make a copy, right? You simply click it and make a copy, and so this sample is preserved. So the next time you simply come, make a copy, and then you have a copy of the sample. You can edit this and download this, right, so that your thumbnails will remain consistent. So this is one thing you can do. If you have this now, you can change, you can decide to change the text and say, so we can decide to reduce the size, we can decide to adjust it, you can click all and come in here and reduce the size so that it stays in a line, and then we can decide to drag it because we want it to be as big as possible, but don't let it get too close to the border. There should be a breathing space around the text, breathing space around the text, right? So if you do something like this, it wouldn't make any sense. So let there be an sort of an approximate equal breathing space around the text. So you centralize it. These grid lines, these guidelines will help you, these lines here. So let's say we want to change, we want to add extra text here. We can simply come in here, click this, and see duplicate. We can duplicate it, so it brings it here. So I can decide to drag this here but you discover he's covering us here. So let's go to remove.bg to remove the background. This is the image we downloaded. We can simply drag it here and remove the background, or download any other one, or you can simply click here and upload any image you want. So let's drag it here and remove the background. While that is working out, I can decide to click this and delete because it doesn't work for me any longer, and move this. So I want to put the text here, but I could leave it like this, but it would be best if I put a background here. So I can simply come in here and look for a rectangle or anything I can adjust, right? So anything I can adjust. So if I click rectangle here or square, it comes up, right? So if I click square, it comes up. I can click this and drag it here. So if this is my brand color, I can decide to leave it, right? And it works. Then I could just simply come to position and move to the back now, so that it won't just be all purple background or that shade of purple. So let's see what they've done. Okay, so you see, remove.bg has removed the background for us. So I can simply download this and go back to my design. So since this text is light and this background is light, it won't fly. This one, the background is dark and the text is light, so it will fly, right? Because they have to be contrast, right? We say they should be high contrast always, so that it pops, so that the image doesn't get lost. So we could simply click this and change the color. Click this text color and we could use black, right? So you see, your text must be big and bold and must not necessarily make a grammatical sentence. So it mustn't be a full sentence. So we could just say, why crying? So let it be catchy, right? This is just something that just this may not be the best of examples, but it's intriguing. People want to know why crying, you know, or lost baby found. This is just an example. Let the text be bold, but it should also be short so that you can make it bigger, and it should be intriguing, right? So we can simply drag the one we have removed the background, so we can place in here. So you can see these two images here. This one has a background, but we used remove.bg to remove the background of this. We can click it here and drag it to be bold. Drag it, right? So it's looking away, it should be looking here. So we can simply flip horizontal. So now we are good. We can adjust it a little more, adjust it to cross this so that it looks even more professional. So we can click this and adjust it so that it pops a little, not too much. So I can bring our arrow here and adjust it so it looks beautiful again. So we've done the two basic. You can now save this as, let's say, sample 2. So if you have an image, if you have a thumbnail where you want to remove the background, you can use this. Or you have a thumbnail where you don't want to remove the background, you can use the former one. And so there are many other things. You can reproduce this whole thing. You can put another triangle here to put other text below, whatever way you deem fit. So basically, this is how we design catchy thumbnails that get clicks like crazy. First, we say design a brand sample. Have a sample so that there's consistency and there's ease of production, right? So that you can easily just come in here and change the text and change the image, and you are good to go. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you can use canva.com, you can use snapper.com, you can use Photoshop. There are different editing software there, or you can outsource it. You could use fiverr.com or Upwork. You go to upwork.com and get somebody to design it. But it's easy and simple to use Canva, and so that's what we used in this video. Let it be bright and it pops. No matter how small the size, it should pop. No matter how small, you see, it still pops. It's bright, it's bold text, it has imagery that is compelling, text that is compelling, and so that's it. Then do not use more than 3 colors, right? Try to stick to few colors as much as possible. So if you discover that you're using more colors and it's becoming riot, then you should reduce. I leave this extra color here because, of course, we're talking about BB here, and so we can we can be forgiving if we have more than 3 colors here. But basically, if not, I could just simply remove these and then I leave it with this. So my arrow here is a 4th color, and then it's okay that way because of course we want to draw attention, right? If your colors are non-YouTube colors, it will be great. So these are non-YouTube colors. This purple here are non-YouTube colors, right? You can add a border if you are using YouTube colors and you are using a white background so that it doesn't get lost in the YouTube white background. You can use a border for that. But if you're not using YouTube colors or white background, you can leave out the optional border. Use close-up faces. Try as much as possible to make it as bold as possible, so that the face will be big and bold. Visually compelling imagery. Don't use something bland. You can see the images I downloaded here. You see this one here. You see this lady here. This one has cash. This one is surprised. This one is, visually compelling. Like shows expression. The face should show some form of expression: shock, surprise, happiness, sadness, and stuff. It should be high contrast. So if you are using a light text, use a dark background. If you are using a dark text, use a light background so that it pops. There's good contrast. Then your text should be bold and it should be compelling. Lost baby found. If you see some of my images, you discover that the texts are compelling and they are bold. So you can see converts like crazy. Beast mode. $2,000, $1,000. Revealed, viral, make money, YouTube money, magnetic, hot viral tips. Make sure the texts are bold and they are compelling. So if you find this video very helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and stay subscribed, and I will see you on the next one.